If Blackbeard were to fight Akainu, who is coming out on top? Spoiler warning, if you think it's Akainu, you might want to click off this video, because there's absolutely nothing he can do to beat Blackbeard. Let me break it down for you. I do want to start off by saying, yes, Akainu is an extremely powerful dude with a very destructive devil fruit, one that even Oda said is one of the most destructive. Nobody is downplaying him when they say that he can't beat Blackbeard. It's just, I don't think you understand how strong Blackbeard is now that he has the devil fruits that he has. For starters, I have seen some people say that, well, just because he cuts off his devil fruit doesn't mean that Akainu can't just use, his hockey hands and beat him. He is stronger than Kuzan after all. And that's cool. That's a really good feat. But you know what's a better one? Doing this to Red Hair Shanks. I'll wait. For all intents and purposes, hand-to-hand combat-wise, we have not seen Blackbeard go all out in the story, and we know this because this claw seems to be his main weapon. It's the thing that he used to get the scar on Shanks. It's the thing that he's been fighting with since he was a child. And we haven't seen him pull this out against anybody so far. Imagine fighting Blackbeard, he pulled that thing out. I haven't pulled this out since Shanks. And you like, dang, I might die today. Shanks wasn't even off guard, so let's not pretend like he don't got hands to hang with Akainu with or without the devil fruit. Second thing, Akainu sorta already fought Blackbeard from one perspective before because he fought Whitebeard. And I know, the two are not the same, but I'm talking about like current Yonko Blackbeard versus the old Whitebeard that, Akainu still couldn't beat. He got a lot of good damage on him, but let's not sit here and pretend like he got this hit on Whitebeard because he was just a good enough fighter to do so. He got that hit on Whitebeard because Whitebeard had cardiac arrest in the middle of the battle. Prior to this moment, he has not landed a single hit on Whitebeard, and the sad thing about that is that Whitebeard is old and out of his prime, terminally ill, so he's actively dying, and he had a sword wound in his chest because of Squard. He was fighting a heavily nerfed dude, and he still couldn't land a hit on him until he had a heart attack in the middle of the battle. Now, when fighting Blackbeard, that's not gonna happen. An opening like that does not exist. Not only does that opening not exist, if you have a devil fruit, period, Blackbeard can draw you toward him. You cannot run from it, you can't fight against it. You are a magnet to Blackbeard if you have a devil fruit. There is nothing Akainu can do about Blackbeard going Black Vortex and yoinking him over. But to be fair, the same way Ace was able to counterattack before he got to Blackbeard on one of those occasions, I can see Akainu doing the same thing. However, two things in this situation. One, Blackbeard did not have the Quake fruit yet. And two, despite the fact that Ace threw these flame spears and they went through his chest, he just kind of pulled them out and nothing happened to him. For a dude that takes double damage, he is surprisingly very durable. And if he was eating shockwaves and stuff from Sengoku the Buddha, I'm pretty sure he can eat some punches from Akainu. Meanwhile, on the other hand, we've seen how much damage a Quake Punch can do to Akainu, and this is Whitebeard without using Haki because he was too old to use it. Imagine if he did have Haki though. Imagine if he put that Haki into the Quake Punch the same way we've seen Blackbeard do it. Also keep in mind, Blackbeard will not be holding back with this fruit because he does not care about anybody but himself. Meanwhile, the entire time, Whitebeard still had to hold back because his crew was still there. He told them to leave so that he can sink Marineford. He can't do that if they're here though. If Akainu was fighting Blackbeard, Blackbeard could just sink the island they fighting on and Akainu just dies. There's nothing he can do about that. In the same way he dissipated these flame spears by touching them with his hands and they vanished, he can do the same thing to Magma Fist. So to the person saying, oh, he can't stop all the Magma Fists, he can expand his black hole to cover like the entire area. You know that, right? Can't be a Magma Tundra if he is quite literally making a whole field that just cancels out devil fruit. Sucks in the magma into the black hole abyss. What does Akainu have to deal with this? Nothing. Maybe he can use his magma to propel himself in the air over it, but again, you can't jump high enough to get away from something like this. So long story short, if he couldn't beat the old dude that only had one of the powers, none of the Haki, and he was out of his prime, what makes you think he's beating the dude that transcended him? He can do the Quake Punches, only he can add Haki to him as well. He'll do the Quake Punches, only he doesn't care about nobody, so he's never holding back. Unlike Whitebeard, he can also cancel out your devil fruit, cancel out your ranged abilities. Akainu can never run because so long as you have a devil fruit, Black Vortex, you're coming right back. And if he does get in close quarters, we know that Blackbeard is factually not a slouch. On the contrary, hand-to-hand combat might be one of his specialties. So when you ask me, do I think Teach is really beating Akainu? Yes, I do. And if I'm being honest, I don't see this playing out any other way. And that doesn't make Akainu weak. He is an Emperor of the Sea, quite possibly the last villain in the world of One Piece that we even take down. Y'all give Shanks respect, y'all gave Kaido and Whitebeard respect, y'all back and forth on Big Mom respect, but understand Teach is in the same tax bracket as those dudes now. You have no choice but to respect them, or you can keep underestimating them. Then you just end up in the pack like everybody that underestimated him before.